My principles can be good. My principles can be bad. My principles can be hurt. My principles can be yell. My principles can be lie. My principles can be hide, shut down or whatever. The shit that doesn't change no matter what environment I'm in. So today, a little bit easier of a translation is understanding that the principles of whatever it is, the tenets of whatever it is that I'm practicing, whether that's therapy, meditation, or I don't know, reading a certain book that has some good ideas, or like an Audible that has some good ideas, making sure that those principles are active, making sure those principles are held in practice. That way I can start having a different experience and seeing that the situation is not always as it seems. If that makes sense.
That made loads of sense. So first and foremost, earlier Tyler had referenced the word resentment and not knowing what that means. And you said, like, I don't know if I was stupid or uneducated, or wherever the hell you said, which I think is a big stigma of AA that I find after working in treatment for as many years as I do, is like somebody will get the book, read it, have no idea what the heck it's saying, and then start judging themselves harshly. Because what I have identified is that the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous is more of like a new lingo, which is using new words, new phrases, maybe some acronyms, in there. And so it's like walking into the space of AA and expecting to know what everything is that we're talking about is like trying to walk into physics class and pick up that textbook and understand everything that it's talking about. And it's just not reasonable, regardless of education or lack thereof education, that you're going to go and open this book and just be able to interpret, internalize, understand everything that it is saying, which is why sponsorship is like very important, and like having a guy who was taught by another guy exactly what the heck the big book is saying and what it is talking about and what it is really trying to get us to do and accomplish. Yeah.
Well, I think also just in general, whether someone wants to do AA or not, or any, because that's, guys, we are not saying you must listen to this podcast and join AA. That's not what we're saying at all. But even if you're just some person who is looking to change, their lifestyle or live a higher quality of life, a mentor is phenomenal. And whether that mentor is someone who is, that you pay as a therapist, which is really great. I think therapy is really nice. Whether your mentor is David Goggins, on YouTube, who's saying stay fucking hard, or, your mentor is just somebody that has something that you want, whether, you just met them, whether you've known them for a little bit. It's really good to get a mentor and have this shit explained to you, because to your point, it's like the reason why usually I need help is because what I'm currently doing isn't working, no matter what that is, drinking or other. So whenever I need help, I have to ask for help from somebody, have it explained, have it laid out, with some, almost like just like a plan. If I'm trying to just change my entire life or just an aspect of my life and I'm having difficulty, that's the big thing. Because I'm not saying everybody needs a mentor to live a better life. But what I'm saying is, if you're trying to change a certain part of your life or your life entirely and you're having difficulty with that, you may need a mentor. And to your point, not being so harsh on yourself, it's okay. It's okay to receive that help. It's okay to not have the answers. It's okay to need someone to guide you. And, because dude, like nowadays, today a little bit, I'm more privy to being like, I should have this figured out. That really wasn't like, I knew I needed a lot of help in the very beginning, but as I've gotten older and I've done a lot of things, I'm like, I can figure this out. But there's times that I can't. Mm-hmm. And I think that comes all the way back to, some of the first things that we learn, which is just our life being unmanageable. And, in a certain aspect, whatever that means. I'm not trying to make this big fucking deal about my whole life, but at least in this certain aspect, if there's a certain aspect of my life or my being that I'm having difficulty with and I can't seem to just fully get it over to another side or another path, then it may be unmanageable. And I think that's where the help comes in. And I think that's where the lack of judgment also needs to come in, because not all the time do we have answers. And if we did have the answers, I don't think we would be having so many problems. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, it's the idea that just because I'm sober now, that doesn't mean that I am somehow a perfect human being that's exempt from trials and tribulations and like making mistakes in life. My problems do look dramatically different than they did when I walked into the rooms or into this space of trying to like get my life better. But the problems are still there. And it's also the idea of, or the principle really, of remaining teachable and understanding that I am not the end all be all, and I do not have all the answers, nor do I need all the answers. And, like Tyler was referencing mentors earlier, like those are just essentially people that I can call or count on to help give me advice or share their experience with me on how they got through a similar or, the exact same issue and how they overcame it, or what they did to, alter that behavior or action and such. But then just to kind of bring it back to what Tyler was saying about, like, we're not here doing this podcast telling you that you need to join AA, like same thing with like fitness, you got like CrossFit, you got like weightlifting, you got marathon runners, et cetera, et cetera. You have all these different avenues of working out that are all just to better your life in a certain aspect. Just one part might feel better for you or pique your interest more. It's the same thing. There's all kinds of different ways and avenues to find sobriety or recovery or whatever. We are just simply talking about like what was introduced to us and what has worked for us. But, by all means, like go check out some different fellowships like Narcotics Anonymous or Smart Recovery or like whatever, because there's people all over the place doing all kinds of things that are, living happy lives. And and even the big book says that we do not have a monopoly on God. I think the same principle applies to like that we do not have a monopoly on sobriety or recovery either. And, just figure out what makes you happy and what floats your boat, and, give it your best shot, And
if you need help finding these resources, or you just have some questions, get with us, send us a DM, shoot us a comment down below, or give us a call if you have our number, and we'll answer.
Hopefully.
If you're John, he probably won't answer, but he'll claim he was busy and potentially call you back.
Potentially.